Good morning on this Thursday, and welcome to the Beef and Barnzy show. As usual, joined by my co-host and internet personality, actually worldwide personality, PBA star, and he's the reason why you're here. So, good morning, Beef.
Hey, yeah, we do have the internet all around the world. So, what's going on, Christopher? How are we feeling?
Oh, feeling good. Getting ready for the PBA doubles this weekend. Unpacking, packing, family in town, lots of good things going on. Got my new flex background here, so
You got what I refer to as your Shannon O'Keefe background. You got all your trophies on display.
Actually, most of these are Linda's, but I guess you wouldn't know.
I was about to say Shannon's were a little less dusty.
That's not nice, Stu.
Yeah, they hadn't aged as much.
They're probably bigger too. So
your trophies are like fine wines, Chris.
Let's go with that. That's.
So what are we going to chat about this morning?
So great. You what?
What are we going to chat about this morning?
I think we, with the latest of the PBA region and all the things going on there, I think we should talk about which region is the strongest, and who you think. I guess which one will be the easiest to make the show. Which one's the easiest to cash, and
let's not do it like that, because that makes it seem like a negative, the easiest or whatever. I think we should do if there was a battle bowl, pick your 5 from each region, which region would win. And then everybody can be kind of excited, and we can throw down. Spoiler alert, top 5, I'm pretty sure the West are going to win because they've got Simo and Belmo. Kind of doesn't really matter who else they have.
Well, it does take 5, but their next 3 are pretty good too. So yeah. They don't suck, that's for sure.
Let's do it a little bit like that. So, should we on the thing I've got? They started with the West region, which not really sure why, but so the West region has basically Hawaii, Alaska, all of the West Coast, and then as far east as New Mexico, I guess. I guess that would be the furthest east. And then it's got Western Canada, which I don't think is anybody, and Australia.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Bowling, somewhere where I'm pretty familiar. They're bowling in Bolero, Christown, 48-lane AMF overlays, huge center, huge, massive.
And which one?
Bolero, Christown. You bowled the US Open there many moons ago. I believe that was the US Open that Robert Smith beat Norm Duke, I think. But anyway, it was more than a minute ago that everybody bowled there.
I remember bowling from the tile there. That's where I remember bowling.
Yeah. The bowling center is a little strange, like one half of the bowling center and the other half of the bowling center. I won't spoil it for any of the noobs who are going there. Good thing though. I don't think in Arizona that's one of the places that's particularly fantastic on the left in comparison to some of the places they could have gone. So I don't think it's going to be an ultimate cakewalk for Jacob, but you never know.
Well, I put together a little list of the top, let's call it 8 players.
Okay.
In that region. And that's what I'm looking at there, I think.
Slight alteration to your list. Blanchard is a tournament director now and can't bowl.
He cannot bowl. All right. Well, that makes a difference.
Yeah, Josh is cashing every event now.
Good for him. He's now He's the leading money winner in the West. And so Belmo, Jacob Simonson, D Tang, Marshall Kent, Rhino, Jake Peters, and I assume probably Cooley is on that list as well. That probably close.
Yeah. Yes.
They have 7. The West has 7 members who are part of a PBA league team, but they do have 5 that were definitely in the top 30 in points. Lots in the top 10 in points.
We've been having a little bit of an issue with the comments coming through because when you included the other channel, it kind of messed everything up. So I had to delete the Beef and Barnzy channel so the comments would start coming through. Okay.
Oh, that's the new Facebook thing.
So right. Anyway, I've got a couple of comments over here. Basil says Texas has so many good bowlers. Even Stu moved to Texas. I don't know how to take that one. He says 250 average in league. Wow, I'm about 240 on the Wii. And then Adam says hi. Cameron says, "What's the favorite match you've won?" Oh, I don't know. When I beat Belmo, that was fun. But the favorite match you win is the only ones that are your favorite is the ones that get the trophy. So probably Andrew Anderson.
There you go. There's a good addition, PJ Haggerty. But for the case of this, and we're talking about favorites, PJ is certainly like guys like Matt McNeil until recently, but Derek Oath. There's several of these guys that can really, really bowl. And there'll be some guys up in the East that are probably the same way. Barta and those kind of guys will probably show up and bowl, but they're not out here all the time. So for the purposes of favorites, it's hard to pick them as a favorite when they don't bowl all the time. Yeah. It's my rationale for it, but I am a big fan of PJ, and I absolutely believe he's talented enough to make it into that top 5 for sure.
So next on that, on the next region, shall we say?
Yeah, who do you want to go after?
I believe on this list, the Southwest region is next, and that is Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Mexico. So and Arturo. I guess from a normal regional, the 2 players that we really add with this is probably Brad and Kyle. We don't really see them very often in the region. I don't really know why Brad doesn't bowl regionals, but he never seems to bowl.
I don't know either.
He never really seems to bowl any of the ones near us. Maybe he bowls more in the central. I don't know, but I don't
know if they're bowling a whole lot up there. So I mean, it seems like he's been saying that he hasn't had a whole lot to bowl in. So
yeah, a little surprised because we've had plenty to bowl and.
Put it together now. So and as usual, come on. There we go. Frankie, Chapman, Anthony Lavery Spar, Brad and Kyle, myself, Stu. You're in there, aren't you?
You didn't put me on the list.
Oh, that's nice. I missed a couple of them, actually. That's better. Frankie, Chapman, ALS, Brad, Kyle, CB, Maldonado, Pete, Weber, Packy, Stu, Sean Lavery, and Ildemaro. And you still have Arturo, Mitch Hoope, which I didn't put on there. Nathan Bohr, Dino, and that doesn't count. Yeah, I'm still missing some people in there, but
Yeah, I feel like we've got the deepest region.
yeah, we're not as top heavy.
Yeah,
As certainly not as top heavy as the West or even the Central, but
yeah, because I mean, realistically, the only top 10 guy that we had last year, I mean, Brad Miller was just outside, but it's Frankie.
yeah, Frankie, Brad, Kyle, we're all around that number.
Yourself, you made the playoffs also. If we're gonna include Brad and Kyle, then you were only a tick behind them also. So Maldonado, I think, could be included in that. Now he's a true two-hander, not a fake two-hander.
Yeah, no thumb Maldi is seems to be a new beast right now. He is.
Weston is saying Malott. Nope, we don't have to worry about Wesley. Wesley's not our problem anymore.
Oh, Wesley Lowe though is our problem. So.
Oh yeah, but he was talking about Malott.
Yeah.
Lisa says hi from Vegas. Hi, Lisa. I've got a couple of questions over here that haven't come through, but anyway, one person says, "How is Stu not on the list for real, Chris?" They pulled the trigger pretty quick.
Yeah, my order's all over the place here, so it's.
And then somebody says, "We'll answer this question later, but it's our thoughts on being able to throw all the balls." But yeah, we'll get to that later.
All right.
So yeah, we need a new region, don't we, to pontificate over. Central. Oof. So while Chris does the list, it's players of Central Canada, which my geography isn't good enough to know what that is. North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, and Indiana. So to put in perspective, everywhere where it's snowing right now. Although I saw a cool commercial about why I should go and live in South Dakota.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what that.
They basically, their argument is, we leave you alone. There's no government, and we don't shut anything down. That's their argument to live there. Oh, P.S. We've got the presidents on the mountain. That's principally their. And you wouldn't be surprised to know that all of the shots of living there were in the summer. So there you go. Look, Tina Marie. Good morning, Lisa. I think you often said many present love to you. There we go.
All right.
So
a list going across the bottom there.
We got a lot of PBA champions in this one.
Yep. You got AAJJ, which is Adam Johnson for those of you at home. Eileen Anderson, Andrew for those not keeping score. EJ, McNeil, Prather, Nick Pate, Ronnie Russell, Sean Rash, Wes Malott, Tom Smallwood, and I've included Matt Sanders. Pre-Simonson backup ball is the one that's going to have to show up.
Yeah, there's a few players there. Player. Yeah, that's that's a pretty stacked field. If I was doing that, you'd be thinking EJ, Prather, Rash, Malott, and AJ, I would guess. Quickly looking at that list, if I was putting 5 together, with Smallwood coming in to close the 10th frame if they needed it.
Yeah, you have Smallwood. If he's got it, there's hardly anybody strikes more than he does. And then McNeil from the left side adds a wrinkle into the whole mix. Yeah. Talking about PBA League players, the West had 5 members plus Blanchard that were on league teams. The Southwest had 12. And the Central actually only has 9. Which I found interesting because I find them that region to be stacked. But the reality is, it didn't quite play out that way. Now they do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They had 8 people that we would consider inside the top 30.
But I think they actually have 4 inside the top 10.
Yes, and much like the West, they are deep and they're top heavy, which is the difference between them and say the Southwest region, which is in the Southwest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 guys in the top 30, so it's pretty strong. But like you said, really, we started about 8 and moved to 15 pretty quick, and then it's 15 through 30 really strong. So,
okay, let's do the South next, and we'll finish up with the East. So the South is the smallest by the amount of states. It's South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. But then they add the continent of Europe.
And that's an interesting one. It's kind of all over the place. You have Tommy, you have Richie Allen, you have Walter Ray, depending where you feel like there.
Tom Doherty,
Simonelli. And you add in Jesper, Richie Teese.
Dom.
Oh yeah, Dom. Martin Larson.
Just a couple of majors. We'll let that guy in. Scrub.
Oscu. Duke. Oh yeah, him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Richie. Sloan. It went from not so strong to just loaded. And then Andres Gomez, DJ Archer, Greg Young. There's a list to kind of put together there. It's a bit of a mess. 13 guys that have been on teams now are in that region, the most of anybody.
You've got Michael Holloman. He's not in that region. It's okay. Tennessee's in the East.
I didn't even move into the right place. Way to work.
It's all right. We get the point. Here's a blast from the past. Chris Collins.
That's always capable. One of the best athletes.
Don't even know if he still bothers bowling, though.
What?
I'm not even sure if he still bothers with bowling, though.
That's also possible.
So so that's they've got they've definitely got a lot of experienced guys in that region. Duke, Doherty, Dom, Richie Allen. A lot of guys who've CC done day 1, game 4 on a ring 10.
It's
how you spell Sloan in Ireland in game.
Well, it's when he wins a title, we'll worry about the spelling.
Okay, I guess somebody who's related to Greg tells me that he's now in the Central. He moved to Illinois. So.
Yeah.
Somebody says, what region is Mookie Betts bowling? Well, I would guess that would be the West.
I would take a gander.
You don't sign for the Dodgers and not live in LA.
Yeah. Fair guess. Jason Hurd when he decides to bowl. He hasn't bowled in a while. Norm Duke is on. Yes, he's definitely on the list.
Kenny Ryan is another one that you've left off. He would be the South.
I have him in the East, but he's listed from New York. Is he living in this?
Okay, maybe. I thought he'd been hanging out in Florida a lot.
And well, and that's the problem we have with a lot of these is we're not real sure where some of these guys are going to end up bowling because where they're from and where they're at now don't necessarily
Yeah,
coincide.
I'm sure that we're going to get a roster in the next month or so because, well, in the next couple of weeks, in fact, because the cutoff for the pre-entries or whatever you want to call it was coming up. Did you enter yet?
I have an update. We have a schedule of players.
Oh,
So
the great and the good watching the show.
Yeah, the very great. I got a much more official. So Brian Goebel will also be in the Southwest. Packy is going to be in the Southwest. Frankie, Robert Lawrence, Brad Miller, Arturo, as mentioned, Mike Scroggins. Other guys who are eligible, I guess that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to enter, but Rick Steelsmith, Lonnie Wallachek, Chris Warren, Mark Williams, Pete Webber, Christian Ascona is.
He lives in Florida.
No, I'm sorry. That's the break. Sorry, I'm reading this for the first time. So he's in the South.
Okay.
Ascona in the South, along with Pontus Anderson, who we have not mentioned yet, DJ Dom, Jeff Bellinger, Simonelli, Couch, Doherty. Couch is the other one we were missing. Nate Garcia, Karsten Hansen, Steve Hoskins, Thomas Larson, Martin Larson, Amleto. Now we have Ildemaro he is in the South now, moved from Texas. And Sloan is moved from Utah. Interesting. Ricky Ward. I guess he still bowls. Who knew? I haven't seen Ricky.
I'm still trying to understand the one about Ildemaro. He lives in Dallas.
I don't know. But okay. Dave Arnold, I think that's the cut for the West. Walter Ray obviously being the last one in the South. Dave Arnold, Belmo, Buttriff, Cooley, Eric Forkel, Mike Haugen, Dennis Horan, Marshall Kent, Mika, if he was, but these are not necessarily guys who are entered, but they're eligible for this region. Mika is not going to be bowling. Hugh Miller, Ron Moore, Warren Nelson, Scott Norton, Rhino, Jake Peters, Simonson, Robert Smith, Darren Tang, Brian Voss would be in that region. Andrew Anderson in that region. That's okay. That's the start of, yeah. I'll catch up here. This is not, it's interesting. So the Central, Andrew Anderson, George Branham, Mike Fagan, Tom Hess, Hoope, in that region, which I guess because he's based out of home right now. Jaros. Oh, that's right. He did move up from.
Is he gone back to Illinois?
He's gone back to Illinois. Steve Jaros, AJ Johnson, Nick Crummell, Wes Malott, Eugene McCune, McNeil, Pate, Prather, Rash, Ronnie Russell, Matt Russo, Matt Sanders, Tom Smallwood, the legend Harry Solins, EJ Tackett, Dave Traber, Michael Wolf, and they have Greg Young in the Central as.
So from this list that I've got, the only corrections we've got are people who are never going to bowl.
Well, some of them are going to bowl, but I mean, obviously, Greg Young's going to bowl.
But what I'm saying is we already had that corrected by our chat. I'm just talking about some of the other people who are on the list. Like, Jeff Bellinger, I can't imagine that he's going to bowl.
I wouldn't think, but I don't know what. I guess as champions in that region, they're probably qualified or.
No, I'm sure that's what it is.
Priorities. Yeah. And then we go to the East, which we.
This is the one that was hardest.
Yeah, and I put together a little short list there, but in addition to these guys, you have Patrick Allen, Angelo, Tom Baker, Parker Bone, Michael Davidson, Graham Faw, Gary Gary Faulkner, Patrick Gerard, Brian Himmler, Michael Holloman, Jack Jurek, Doug Kent, Bob Learn, Sam Macarone, Mike Martell, BJ Moore, Brandon Novak, Matt Ogle.
Now, there's the guy who I was going to highlight as a sneaky guy who could do some damage.
He's got some tricks, there's no doubt. What did we rename Bill O'Neill? Big Wheel Bill O'Neill? Big Wheel
Bill O'Neill, yeah.
That's right, Big Wheel.
We had different names for him on the European side of that stage.
Well, please share.
Oh, no, we were just wondering when Weber Cup Bill was going to come back. He did come back a little bit on the last day.
Yeah.
He came back a little bit on the last day.
Yeah.
Jasper just kept turning to me every time he kept striking and going, "Where's Weber Cup Bill?" You told me Weber Cup Bill exists. I go, looks like Weber Cup Bill's dead.
Yeah, he might. He made a little 3-year appearance and only there, and then gone. He's exorcised the demons. Greg Ostrander, Anthony Pepe. That's one we hadn't. Jake Rollins, Ryan Schaefer, Jason Sterner, Michael Tang, Kyle Troop, Chris Fye, Wayne Webb, Zach Wilkins, and Wiseman doesn't bowl anymore. I don't think. I think his wrist is completely shot.
Phil Outright says, "Don't put it past Jeff to bowl." I think the $500 entry fee is usually fairly much of a decent distraction to most people.
It could be. Yeah, I mean, I think the East is the most susceptible to being there's a lot of guys that could make it.
Imagine this tournament, how we'd be having this debate if this was the early 2000s. Damn, the East would have been like Bisinia.
When I came on at 15, you wouldn't have had to add anybody to that region, that's for sure. The depth in the regional side was off the charts, and in the South was really good too. Michael Tang is in the East region because Ohio is included in the East.
I'm just thinking of just a few of those names. Then when you went Angelo, Allen, Jurek, Kent, with Parker Bone, you never even needed to get to C, and that region was difficult.
Schaefer, Parker, yeah. I mean, it would have
been and that was before all of the random guys who come out the woodwork who were like superstar bowlers, like Dave Gwindon and people like that.
Yeah, just all the guys that were my age and in their mid-30s were a handful.
We do have breaking news on the Beef and Barnzy show. Breaking news.
Hang on.
USBC just put out a press release saying that Nationals has been pushed back till May. The team event is going to be bowled in the bowling stadium, and the doubles and singles are going to be bowled in the bowling center. Breaking news.
All right. Say that again. Nationals has moved back to
May. It's going to start in May now, as opposed to starting in
February,
March.
March.
Yeah. And there's going to have the team event is going to be run in the bowling stadium in South Point, and the doubles and singles are going to be bowled in the bowling center. So good for me and Dom if Dom can get over and bowl, because we love ourselves some South Point bowling center.
Del Pal, I'll take David Anthony at any regional back in the day. Well, because David Anthony was at every regional for 15 years. You could always put him in the field. He was the regional Ironman.
I'll take my chances with Chris Warren.
Yeah.
Or the Traver brothers.
But David was the player of the year for I don't know how many years in a row. And the Ironman at the same time. So Dennis Jakes and Joe Furpo going to bowl too. Only if they still have their mullets, I think. All
right. So let's get back to our 5-man team thing. So are we thinking that the Central is going to be number one?
If you're talking about a 5-man group, I mean, obviously the West is you have Belmo, Jacob, and Simo to start off a team.
Yeah,
You could do a lot
most
worse.
bases covered.
Yeah, and
But
then
I
you
mean, Prather,
only have
Rash,
Darren
and EJ.
Tang and Marshall to back them up. So,
Yeah, I get it, but Prather, Rash, and EJ is a pretty solid start as well.
yeah, and you back them up with Malat or
And AJ
or Andrew Anderson or Smallwood, Pate.
I mean, that's going to be a fight to the death. The only thing that could stop the Central region is them having an argument over who was going to go anchor.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't count. They have some really good left-handers in the region. You still have Ronnie Russell and some guys that are multiple-time champions in that region that aren't even part of that list.
If it was a 10-man team, it would be over.
Yeah,
but a 5-man team, it's
Right, man. They probably have the most really high caliber guys that could make that top. They could even break in past that top end. They're super deep. Probably the toughest region to make the show.
To make that top 5, yeah.
Yeah. The Southwest, I believe, probably wins the toughest to get a check. Although we've done fairly well with entries and that. And so I do think we'll have a really good chance of that field being completely full. And there's a lot of guys that can just plain bowl around here. So it's probably one of the most unpredictable on who the top 5 will be.
Yeah, definitely. Especially going to Garland as well, which is a place that we don't really bowl at very often.
No, we haven't really bowled. I bowled one event probably since the U.S. Open was there.
Yeah, I mean, I bowled Dino's event there, and I've actually watched more events in Garland than I've bowled events. I've gone and watched Tina bowl there 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
So
now it was one of the centers the USBC leveled. So as far as a equity issue or a crossing the center issue, now it was 6 years ago, but it's going to be
bowling center.
Yeah, another Bolero that used to be a showplace center, so it's 58 lanes. It's got plenty. I think that's a very unpredictable region with a lot of guys that are relatively close in
yeah, I think our region is probably the one that's most likely to get the national audience going, who's that guy?
And we all go, oh yeah, that's not a surprise.
Yeah, Cole Sroy makes bowls great all the time. How do you
both in San Antonio and Houston? I mean, the guys like Brandon Novak, who not necessarily have been broke out into a national scene, but all the guys that bowl the tournaments know who Brandon Novak is because he wins a lot of
bowler. I mean, he's made at least 1, if not 2 shows.
Well, yeah, now he has broke out, but yeah, I mean,
but yeah, no, I take your point.
The Laverys were like that before. Now more people know them because they've made shows, but there's a fair amount of those guys. And then you got a guy like Nathan Bohr, who's just pretty good at a lot of different things, and you bowl in 4 different patterns. Like you say, maybe not a fan favorite from the out, or not. He's a favorite from the outside, but not necessarily a pick from the outside. But you certainly wouldn't be surprised if he not only made the top 5, but if he led, you wouldn't go, no way.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, for sure. In the South, I feel like just looking at it from the outside, there's a lot of centers in that area where the left just runs them over.
It seems like, and there's a few good lefties down there.
Yeah.
Michael Hallman's got his trusty purple ball back again, and
even though he's bowling in the East.
Yeah.
It's okay, Michael. He'll get you down in that South region by the end of the show.
Yeah, that's right. He's still in the East. He's still he's not there. He's not there. But that other guy, who I think is in the East, is now in the South. So with Simonelli, and
yes.
and you have that other really tall guy who's pretty good.
Yeah. Yes, is probably not going to be too upset by the nice weather.
No, and really this was, I guess, not really the surprise when you added in all the Europeans in, but they have the most PBA league members with 13. So obviously a very deep and top heavy, I would say. I guess, Dom was on a little bit of an off year, and then TJ wasn't really TJ's best version this past year, but you obviously still think of both of those guys as top 10 players, caliber players. And so,
and to me, Doherty almost never bowls bad.
yeah, he really has become kind of it's so odd to think of a guy who's not only no thumb, but not even a second hand as being a consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really, really consistent.
And in the region, you have to put him as one of the favorites. He bowls all the time, and he finishes the top in that region all the time.
Yeah.
And so certainly won't be any surprise. It's a really tough one to pick. Obviously, Dom, Jesper, you can't ever count Duke out. Tommy,
I'd like to see this be Martin's time to shine. I think that'd be cool.
I think most people cheer for Martin. I think he's really, and it only took him getting hit by a car to get his game back on track. So
fun story about that whole deal. When he got presented with the Steve Nagy, everybody was like, congratulating him, and I just looked at him and go, getting hit by a car doesn't make you a good sportsman. It makes you a fucking idiot. I go, I have no idea why that qualified you for the Steve Nagy Award. Like, that doesn't make you a good sport. That just makes you stupid. And Martin was like, I kind of agree. He goes, the last time I won this award, it was because I came 60th every week and I didn't burn the bowling center down.
Yeah. The bar is just not exceptionally high sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you have Thomas Larson, who's really sneaky there. Teese has been pretty good.
There's a guy who's a sneaky good bowler.
Very. Yeah. That's an excellent call.
He's another guy. He's a little quirky in the way he bowls, but he makes a couple of round robins a year. He's a Craig Niderfer style, little under the radar. But
if you're paying attention, he finishes high a lot. Yeah, and then you also got like Andres Gomez, a DJ Archer can get really sneaky.
DJ's me and DJ are on the same plan. We're losing some weight. DJ's had knee surgery. I'd like to say that living with Tommy might be helping in practice, but not sure about that.
That's probably not it. Yeah, I mean,
Good morning to your mother.
Yeah, there. Hi, Mom. We haven't even talked about Osku, who actually has shown, more sparks of 2010 Osku than we've seen.
He definitely ain't afraid to throw it for the wheat either. Osku has a lot of big prize checks in his locker. Got a couple of I think he's got 4 checks in his life over 50 grand. Not that many guys who've got that.
That's a big number. It's hard to get to. Yeah, and you still have Duke and Walter Ray, and they don't suck.
No.
You might outstrike them, but they're not going to give away a lot. So,
yeah, I feel like when I first came into this and I started looking at it, I felt like the East was like way weaker or whatever. I think the thing is I think that the East is going to probably have the most entries. I think the East is going to have a big PTQ.
Yeah, it's just tricky.
Looking at it from the outside, because I think that a bunch of guys out there have always, stood up and wanted to bowl. Look at all the big events that you have in Ohio, or when we used to bowl all the tournaments out on the East Coast. People had turned up in their droves to bowl, and the fact that they don't necessarily have a defined top 4 or 5 that's 100%, oh my God, look at that. I think will help them in getting more and more people wanting to bowl, because if you look at that central region, it doesn't make you think, man, I could take all those guys down. But in the East, outside of Bill and Troop, I don't necessarily know that there's that guy who you're like, oh my God, I'd never beat him. Like another guy could feel like. I mean, it's pretty easy to feel like that against Simonson and Rash and Prather and those guys.
Yeah,
But
you still have Parker there, and you still have Zeke Bate, Michael Holloman, Danielle.
yeah, like I say, that they're really good bowlers. I just
Right.
don't know that they're the people who fear the strike, strike the fear of God in you, like
Yeah.
the top 10 guys do. That's just what I meant. Like, if you're going to beat Bill O'Neill, it's got to be like the greatest day of your life, and Bill's probably going to be off a decent bit. That's how I feel anyway. When you look at Bill at the minute, he's just bowling great all the time.
Mhm.
And the same with Kyle. Kyle's bowling awesome all the time, and those top 10 guys give you that feeling. But it's kind of the same thing in the South. It's Southwest rather. Like our region, we've got a lot of really good bowlers. I don't think we have one guy who we're like, man, that guy's definitely going to make it.
Right. I mean, you would have to say Frankie's got a pretty good chance. Obviously, there's, Maldy's really hot right now. You've been bowling well. Chapman's been around. Kyle, there's a lot of, but there's 15 of those guys.
Yeah. Whereas in you've got Belmo and Simo and Jacob, you just feel like if Jacob's even 70% ball reaction, he feels like he's almost uncatchable a lot.
Yeah, and Chris Town, the rumor is that he'll have ball reaction there. So
yeah, I mean, like I say, for Arizona, I think there's quite a few other places they could have picked that would have been
worse.
Yeah.
But he doesn't need a ton. And then you also have Rhino there who can look into things too.
Mm-hmm.
If Rhino's been bowling and he's sharp, he's a handful on about anything. And then, but he's in the industry now, and that changes a lot of things. So it's a hard one to predict.
Yeah, definitely.
So Walter Ray been bowling. Yeah. Here's a news flash. For 45 years, he's been bowling a lot.
He says, if you cross with Walter Ray this weekend, we can see you bowl, and he videos everything Facebook Live. Yes, he does.
And a lot of people watch.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out. So, yeah. Well, yeah. I think the East is the one where there could be a lot of people who don't live in the East go, wow, who are the guys bowling with with O'Neill Troop? You certainly won't be surprised if March Vi shows up and February Vi shows up. You certainly won't be surprised about that. He's been bowling.
Here's an interesting dilemma. Have the Central folks been able to bowl much with all the shutdowns?
Yeah. No.
That's the thing. Like the Southwest region, we've been bowling the whole time, basically.
Yeah, we've been bowling
maybe a month off.
Since June, basically, we've been.
Yeah, since my man in Waxahachie, Mr. Scott Dodson, said, we bowled.
Yeah, that was actually his your and I's first tournament after this thing, and
yeah,
we kind of did the every other weekend for a while to make sure that nothing crazy was going on because we didn't really know much about anything then, and since then. But that's a great point. Guys in the East are obviously not going to be able to bowl a lot. The East also has guys like Alex Aguiar and some guys that can really
Jonathan Van Hees.
There's
former teammate John Van Hees.
The former teammate, that's right. And if Aguiar would have bowled enough, he would have been a teammate. Probably in there too at some point. We kind of liked that whole deal. Nidifer was on a winning team, and yeah. So yeah, the Northwest, that's a mess up there.
California also is
a
mess as well. But they have been bowling quite a bit down in Vegas and Arizona now. So I know that doesn't help the Northwest guys, but
no, I have to travel to Reno or someplace to try and get
another guy who I don't know whether he's got his PBA card, but he might get it. Really good bowler for the West side, Alex Hoskins.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Hoskins and Klempkin may decide to get their card for
this. I mean, Klempkin's been unbelievable. The last 5 years, seems like he makes a step like that every single time he bowls. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, talk about flying on the radar. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back.
Charles says the West for two for that match. To be fair, Vegas has been the bowling centers in Vegas. I think have been they've been doing okay, I think. Like for being open. I know the casinos were shut for a while, but I mean, if you've been bowling for the last couple of months, it probably didn't make any difference that you had 3 months off. I felt it was just like that first month you got back to it was a little rough. After that, it wasn't. It was like being back on the horse.
So in the end, I mean, given the challenges, which are substantial right now, and trying to keep things, as safe as you can keep them, and run an event of this magnitude, I actually think they did a pretty good job. And it pains me to say this, that I think Tom did a pretty good job of getting relatively even as much as he could do. The West is obviously not the deepest, but it was never going to be with just the lack of bowling centers that are out West comparative to the rest of the country. But it is super, super strong. I mean, those top 8 are going to be they're gonna be tough to break through when you add in a few of those guys, like I say, PJ Haggerty, a couple of guys that bowl a lot. A guy like Brian Smith, if he gets, can get sharp in there, might be. But
David Haynes, another good bowler.
What's that?
David Haynes.
Yeah, David Haynes. Yeah, some Vegas guys that bowl a lot. Yeah, there's not bad. I think that we thought the East was going to be maybe fairly weak. But when you really dive into it, and you got Sterner, and you got Zeke Bate, and Wilkins, and Gerard, and you got a lot of
Ogle,
less huge names, but a lot of really good bowlers that are that have been put in that region.
I still think they'd lose in the Battle Bowl situation.
Yeah,
I think that they would. I think they'd go for the lowest in the Calcutta.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, our teams, the Southwest team probably wouldn't either. It was more the strategy like what we had the very first year of the PBA league, and just a whole bunch of really good bowlers that bowl good on a lot of different things that have high floors, and but it might not be enough glitter for to get everybody's attention.
Well, I do think that just quickly about the Calcutta, Simo's team would definitely go for the most in the Calcutta.
Without a doubt. Any team with Momo is pretty much going to go on top, but you put those two together.
Yeah. Well, I think Simon. Well, I think the Calcutta buyers in this world are very pro Simonson because he always buys his share. Doesn't matter how high it is, I'll take it.
Here's a Rambo Ray. Wasn't Ray bowling on the region of the Northwest? He is living in the Dallas area now, so I would expect to see him playing this
weekend. In fact,
yeah,
he's bowling with Steve Klompkin.
Yeah, really good release. So fighting through some hand issues and some other things. There's a name that we that you and I had talked about, but didn't get it written down. O'Grady, that's a champion that's up there in the East. So another guy who can who has moments of glory for sure. And Brandon Novak is up there. Chris Loschetter, Faulkner, Michael Tang, Martell, Davidson, Sterner, Ostrander, Jake Rollins, Grandpa, Parker, Ryan Schaefer. And I'll put Michael Holman in the 4th region. He's bowling in all of them, evidently. So but he actually is bowling in the East. All right. Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to be trying to make the show out in the West. I wouldn't mind being out there to try and get a check. But
yeah. But we don't really enter this one, definitely not for checks.
Nope. 10K to make the top 5 step ladder. Those 5 will all go towards Florida for TV shows with a follow-up of the winner of each of those 5 shows, making a 5-man step ladder for the final. And there's a big number on the end of it, 250K. It's been a minute. Mika did message me, says he found out a little bit too late. He'll have to be back in he'll be back out of the country again by then. And so he was going to be nice enough to let someone else win the 250K this time, which is very generous of him. So.
Yeah, that's all Mika, isn't it? Just such a good guy.
That's what I think of all the time. Your generosity.
All
right. All right. Anything else we want to touch on before we wrap this up?
No, I don't think so. We briefly touched on this weekend anyway, so it'll be interesting to see. Check out Walter Ray's Facebook page. He'll no doubt have a video camera streaming throughout. I think that if you've got a left-handed partner, it'll probably work out quite well for you this weekend. Unfortunately, neither me or Chris do have a left-handed partner, so we will see how that goes. Bowling on 37 feet. We're bowling at Emerald. That's one of my nemesis centers. Justin Bowie, it's his favorite center in Texas, I think.
Wow.
Okay. And he walks around with a swag when he's in that bowling center. He turned up, and the last time we bowled there, he turned up and he was like, he had that, because Justin's usually got his head down and he's a little bit, he's a bit negative, shall we say?
Yeah.
And he turned up, and I'm like, wow, who's this? First game out, $2.99.
He knew.
Swag.
I see this.
Aaron Rodgers. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say Aaron Rodgers was on Pat McAfee on Tuesday, and he was talking about swag, and said he was trying to explain to the young people that swag is an attitude. It ain't cool stuff. He goes, if you wear a Gucci bum bag across here, that ain't swag. He goes, that's just someone didn't teach you how to wear a bum bag properly. Or a fanny pack, whatever you guys call it.
Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, the left is good there. I keep saying, when do you think the rest of the PBA Tour and PBA 50 schedule will come out? How can it? We don't even know when centers are going to be open. So, until they're open, it's pointless to schedule them and then cancel them, because all it makes people do is make travel reservations that they have to cancel.
But on another side, we do have 3 of the 5 majors already on the schedule.
Yeah.
So, just to give you perspective.
Yeah.
Leon Platt says, what balls from the other companies will be in each of your bag for the playoffs? No idea.
No.
I honestly have no idea, because we haven't been able to drill them yet. So
no.
And when you say the other companies, he's talking about you being able to throw Storm and Roto, and me being able to throw Global. I'm just clarifying for the viewers. We're not going to start throwing hammers and whatever else.
Right. Yeah, where isn't the left good? Fair point.
Sorry.
There you go.
It was only the Emerald. The Idle Solid. Yeah, it was a sad day, but I get really emotional. I used to get really emotional about it, but then Hank used to just bring something out about a week later that made me realize that he was right again. Yeah,
they have the base covered.
The only time, to be fair, the only time in recent times where they got rid of a ball, and I don't think there's ever really been anything that was, until maybe this RSTX, was the Alpha Crux.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. It'll be okay. Trust me, it'll be okay. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think so. So we'll be back on Tuesday, probably discussing what the great, the good, and the ugly from the weekend. And
hopefully we're discussing how we were shocked by how bad the left played.
It'd be nice to have a new discussion. Well, they fixed it in Lubbock because they didn't really
hold them on both sides.
Yeah, they didn't shut down the left. They just made the right as easy as the left was.
Maybe even easier.
I don't know. Yeah, 3.5 to 1. That was a generous ratio.
Yeah.
Good accountant right there. Whoever that 3.5 to 1 is, I need him to do my taxes. So, but all right, I got nothing else.
Nope.
Well, as usual, go to beefandbarnzy.com to buy merch. Right? You're supposed to plug that. And,
yeah, that's what the kids say, merch.
Yeah. And as usual, support our sponsors as they support us. So when you get a chance, and this Christmas is coming up, and as I posted a video yesterday from a few weeks back, that Zen would make a great Christmas present.
It's pretty as well.
Yeah. So again, support our sponsors when you get a chance. Storm, Rotogrip, 900 Global, Vice, Turbo, Coolwick, 3G Shoes, Dexter, Master, and Bowler Smart. Appreciate you all watching again today. Happy holidays. Stay safe out there. Stay healthy. Support your small centers and businesses. And God bless.
See you later.